invite Ma'am Sachita Surar from Nepal. So this is the International Association of Quality Education, parallel to the conference in Mumbai. We are having the lectures with Ma'am Sachita. So welcome, Ma'am. Good evening to you.
Good evening, ma'am. Namaste.
Namaste, ma'am.
From Nepal. I don't know, the video is not working. Oh, just hold on, okay? I hope it works. Okay, so how are you all doing? I hope all are good.
Yeah, good, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
heard. Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice to hear from you. I heard a few, what you are doing in school, right? And that is also very, very interesting. I just heard something is wrong with my video. Okay. And I think most of you, after listening to how we can um, have our steam, kind of design thinking. Last week I talked about design thinking. What is design thinking and why design thinking is so important? Because it is very necessary that design thinking gives you a kind of idea where you can have lots of you know um it's a kind of you're using your brain to think about design thinking, and then you create a prototype, and which is very important when you are doing that. And that prototype you developed, I think some of you have shared that on that same day, how you are doing your prototypes. And it's not only about, you don't have to worry about so much, like how should I do it, what should I do it. uh, but it is very important that like what kind of things that we always talk to the students, and how we are going to teach the students, like to create their own to have their own ideas and create their own like products. And I mentioned about this in, like, design thinking is a very like it's a kind of an iterative process, and then it gives you a kind of way out to like solve the problem, solution based approach we call it, to solve the problems. So it is a kind of structured a linear but structured framework where students can learn about it. And when we think about design, actually, today I wanted you to share about any confusion where you talked when you are talking about design thinking. Do you think that you had problem while like having different kinds of ideas? So it is very important that when you are doing it, because remember that I had mentioned about how you are doing design thinking, like it should be research based. You have to find out about it. Now, so you are going to identify and define the problem first thing, and then you are going to research and do a researching and planning a solution. Then you are going to produce and implement a solution, and then you test and evaluate the solution. If you remember, I had mentioned about these steps. And then mostly before we used to have empathizing, but now if you look at it, you are going to identify, research, produce, and test. So these four steps are like very important when you are designing something. Now, if you talk about teaching and learning, also it's the same, because we are dealing with a STEAM, right? And so STEAM based approach, and this is very important that we have different kinds of designs that we create on a like within our education, in school or in college. It doesn't have to be school all the time, because sometimes you can have lots of things that you may not be thinking about, and then it becomes very difficult like whenever I ask you to do, okay, let's do a design thinking project. And some of you are doing it in your everyday, like profession, and you are so aware of design thinking. Now, and it is widely recognized as an alternative way of thinking and a methodology for problem solving in education institution. And you know that design thinking tools that we talk about, like I don't know how many of you have heard about design thinking tools. It is very necessary that when we talk about design thinking tools and talking about empathy and like mapping. Now when we talk about empathy mapping, uh, it is necessary that you have to understand a technique that is used to develop a deep understanding of like users needs and experiences. And once you have developed a deeper understanding of like your as a user, and empathy mapping can help to develop more effective solutions, and you can easily align that with the needs. And similarly, I talked about like defining is a kind of a persona. So it's a you are creating a fictional characters, or fictional things that you are researching, and then you're figuring it out, what kind of things that I'm going to design. And then we have prototyping, where you talk about testing your prototyping means actually testing your ideas. It's nothing so big that when we talk about prototyping, you don't have to have a product in front of you. And then you have sorry, first you come with ideation, and then you have prototyping. Yes, ideation is where you have brainstorming, and you want to use a kind of technique that will help you design your like creating your prototype. So once you have the prototype, and then you are prototype means testing ideas. And then you're not going to have a high risk environment, you're going to have it in a very low risk environment, and you are going to identify potential problems and areas for improvement, and you are going to have feedback from users, and you are going to refine and improve solutions based on feedback. So this is how you're going to do a prototype, and then ultimately the final one is testing. So testing is more of like gathering feedback and like insights from the users, or say you are going to ensure that solutions are tailored to the needs and experiences of end users, or refining and improving solutions based on feedback. So these are the 5 steps we are going to like discuss while we are like talking about design thinking. It is all your creative ideas that which you are going to use it in your design thinking. And it is most like mostly very essential nowadays, because everywhere we talk about 21st century skill, 21st century skill. And then it has become very important that you understand what design thinking and what you are going to develop out of that. Okay. Mm. Now we are going to talk a little bit about uh, IT in design thinking. Now this I want to brainstorm with you. What do you understand by IT in design thinking? I'm not showing slides today because I'm not going to take a long session, because you are going to do it on your own. So what would be the IT in design thinking? Can someone
I
tell me?
think it's about integrating technology into
Mhm.
design.
Okay, ma'am. Say it. Can you elaborate a little bit by saying that?
So, how do you use technology when doing prototyping, when doing research, when doing the testing? So, in each step, how we integrate that aspect.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. When we talk about IT, it is more or less that you are using the technology. Okay? Yeah, someone is saying something. Chiratu, ma'am, are you saying something? I heard some voices there.
No, ma'am, it was a kid.
So can someone, it's very, okay, very common that we say, okay, we are using a digital education, I would say, or information technology, like when we talk about IT in design thinking. So what would be how would you use, like IT in design thinking? How would you do it in your classroom? What are the things that you want to include when you are doing, like design thinking? Yeah, anyone can share. How are you doing? Some of you have already done this, like STEAM education in the classroom and design thinking in the classroom. So how would you do it? Have you ever felt that, okay, being a teacher, that I have problem with IT, with technology? Have you ever felt like that? Oh, others can easily do that, but I cannot do it. Have you felt like that? No? So that means you can easily do it using IT in design thinking. Please say something, otherwise I will not understand. How would you put yourself that, okay, that I want to use IT in design thinking? Actually, when we look at it, like everything starts from school, right? So the design thinking skills, like that also starts from school. How you use it, how you use technology in your design thinking is up to you. There are so many teachers who do not use IT also at all, but there are teachers who use IT every time and make it more, like interesting for students, because whenever they are using computers, like laptops, their tabs, mobile phones, they are they take a very serious interest in designing their own, like, and being creative, to have their own thoughts. Okay. How would you do if I ask you, like, okay, use IT in design thing, how would you do it? Let's brainstorm on this. Let's brainstorm on this.
We can make use of artificial intelligence.
Okay. Artificial intelligence. Okay, some more.
To make presentations using PowerPoint, showing
Mhm.
slides of various aspects that we couldn't simulate in the classroom,
Okay.
create a virtual reality.
Okay, very well said, ma'am. Yeah.
If we are unable to take them to give, like unable to give them a concrete experience, then we can use this technology and create it and give
Okay.
them that concrete experience. Like for
Okay.
example, like, a beach. So if we are unable to take them, we can create that using technology.
Very well said, yes.
By showing video clips.
Okay.
By showing video clips. To
Okay,
when they
video
want to,
clips. Okay. Okay, some more.
by showing video clips, they will follow that, and they will do the same entertainment by following, by observing and listening. There are so many skills they will get to know in that music rhythms.
Okay. Yeah, we can use different ways to incorporate, like information technology in design thinking, because it is very important that some of you said that, okay, I'll be using PowerPoint, or I'll be using making a video out of it, or I'll be showing them a kind of a documentary where they can understand. You can have a kind of video, and then at the same time you can have a voiceover, and then you can relate a story. So in that way also you can easily create your design thinking. Okay. And then when we talk about design thinking, like um apart from all the 5 models that like we use in design thinking, and because as I said, it is a very linear process. And then how am I going to use that? Now, it is said, I don't know how far it is true, but it is said that even PowerPoint is being obsolete nowadays. Like obsolete means old, like old, what to say, fashion, because people are not using PowerPoint nowadays. So do you think
And
that
they use the Oculus, ma'am. The latest
yes,
technology is the Oculus, where you
Oculus,
make
yes,
a 3D reality in the classroom. And it's
exactly.
really wonderful.
Yeah, it's really nice. I have used that also. And thank you for mentioning that, ma'am, because I just wanted to know how many of you know about it. So at least you have explained it. So you can use that, like, and someone mentioned about AI. So you can also design some. Have you seen in AI that there are so many people who are using AI and creating, like the pictures in such a way that it is very difficult to understand sometimes. Oh, how can these people, create something which we have never thought of it? So talking about, like AI and, like other applications that we have, it is very, very important. Like Chat GPT. When we talk about Chat GPT, like it's, we can easily understand that Chat GPT is used by so many people to make their, like work very easy and very, very technologically sound, I would say. So it is necessary for us to understand all these applications if we are really going to create and think about, like solving problems. And, like when we talk about design thinking and design-based learning concepts, like, and we all know that it is growing so in popularity, in academia and professional practices. So I am using some of them, you are using some of them, but maybe we are not, there are so many people who have not been able to use that. So when we talk about design thinking, like you can start from, like from scratch. You don't have to worry so much about, oh, what should I be creating? Just start from very small thing. Yeah, because design means, like your brain has to work. So it can be very, like defined as identification, solving of real life problems. When we talk about real life, real world problems or real life problems, then design thinking and, like comes in our mind. So it is a kind of a design that is highly creative and real synthetic process. Means you are using symbolic, analytical skills of yours, of inquiry and making. So the nature of design thinking is interpreted differently across researchers and fields of studies. People understand in a different way. And then whether you, though you have understood, like what design thinking is, you might want to create it in such a way that you are using technology, you're using engineering, where your designing is a central activity and it is naturally integrated process. So however, like design thinking has become a part of the domains of business and education nowadays. So we are using, like design thinking in our business as well as in our education. So design thinking with, like with if you really want to know very comprehensively, like about design thinking, there's one person who has written so well about design thinking, and his name is Lee. And then he revealed that, like generally this design thinking may be studied in two ways: by contrasting experts and novices, or by studying the activities of designers in team. So they can, like they use such kind of skills that where they can process, they use their skills and strategies and their cognitive skill at the same time. So if we really want to know about design thinking, like we need to understand the process. And because it needs experimentation, it needs creation, it needs prototyping, it needs feedback and redesign. So if you are not agreeing with your design, you can redesign that. And it also involves, like having your solution fit in to meet some problem space by modifying its design and requirements. And then, of course, if you have new information about it, you can always look for that. So it starts with designers inventing requirements from their environment. And then they also explore the problem, and then they create a partial solution. So this is very, very common nowadays, and people are really into it and to design, like their way of understanding and way of thinking. And at the same time, like there are sometimes, like where you can talk about the, like Stanford University. If you have read about, like this research organization of Stanford University, they have published one book, and then it talks more about, design thinking process and into a model containing 5 distinct stages, which we discussed before. And if you look at the processes, like, and then what kind of skills do you think that you need to be a designer? So you, as designers, you need to be flexible, and you need to employ a variety of problem. So you problem solving strategies, you need to have some kind of problem solving strategies. If you're not having that, it'll be very difficult for you to create your own design. So if you talk about the strategies of design thinking, like it includes clarifying requirements, looking for information. How often do you use computer to find out or to search for information? And at the same time, you have to recognize good solutions as well as creating, like, and you often have to prioritize your creation, and then you also have to recheck what you have designed so far. So the skills and strategies are very important, how you are using your skills as an expert or as novices. And then the experts sometimes, like demonstrate their ability to do more with little information, and then they can clarify on the task they are doing. So if I have to say, like when we are become designers, like we need to explore ideas in a very generative process, and then we need to analyze, synthesize, and evaluate. So this is how we will be using our skills and strategies. So talking about, okay, one thing that we talked about just now is the skills and strategy that you use. And then cognitive part is also very important, because it needs a lot of thinking. It needs a lot of looking for the ways, like how you design your product. So the cognitive process is equally important, like, and then so how do you prepare, okay? How do you assimilate, and how do you use a kind of strategy that you really are designing when you are really designing something? So it is very important that most of the design thinking experts, like they always have some example for the problems, and then they kind of connect it with between ideas, and they can have more cognitive actions that are like more concrete in thinking. So it becomes very, very important for us, like where we as designers, we are all design thinkers, okay? It's not that, oh, she can do it or he can do it. No, we all can do it. And as design thinkers, like we have to be very human and environment focused, and we have to work very visually, like we have to create or draw diagrams, or we have to be very flexible, looking into problem solutions, and we have to be very systems oriented, and very, we should be able to communicate well through language, different languages that we use. And of course, we need to have interpersonal skills, and work in team collaboratively, and always look for something that you believe, like are the alternatives for making decisions. Now it is you who is going to make decision on your design, and design based learning are mostly, like it is like you are conceptualizing something and then you are using that, your concepts, in education. And maybe later on that this design thinking, when you talk about STEAM, it can be your pedagogy to like teach in schools or colleges. So according to, like, if you talk about the research based, and then learning, then it was, well, it was, I think it was in 1970, 71, like it was a long time back that, like this kind of design-based learning was introduced. And it really helped, like people understand why design thinking is so important, because this design-based learning always helps you do different kinds of projects. So your experiment and, like the development that you had for so many years may come up with a kind of your own way of making students understand, what project-based or design-based learnings are. So I hope when you are doing it, like when you are working on this, you will be quite surprised to know yourself that, okay, how you are going to do it. So mostly we talk about curriculum, we talk about identifying a problem, and then trying to solve it. So these things are mostly, taken care once you know about design thinking. And so when we, like, I don't know, I have requested all of you to at least design one lesson where you think all these 5 components are used in your design thinking: empathizing, defining and ideating, prototyping, and then testing. So I would appreciate if you at least use one key or main highlighted area that you believe that, okay, I should be taking initiative on this. So this will really help you in understanding how you have created your own design and how you're going to use them. Now, talking about 21st century skills, like we've mentioned this for quite a long time, I think. And this is a skill that you need to have, right? And then but sometimes it can be time consuming, but yes, still you can use it. And then, like understanding the skill that is required for this 21st century. And it is not only, like we mentioned about the idea that we have. It's not only about the idea, it's about the skills and knowledge. And it's about how you see it. It's about your cognitive part. It's about your critical thinking. It's about your communication, collaboration, your creativity, and your innovation. So all these things are equally required when you talk about design thinking. And of course, this design thinking is part of STEAM education. So the competency is very high. And the competencies that you need to have for the 21st century is your critical thinking skills. Now, when we talk about critical thinking, we have to have lots of thoughts in our mind. And these competencies will be developed through design thinking. So critical thinking plays a very significant role in design thinking, because this is the skill that you develop to solve problems. And we call it problem solving skills, that is listed in 21st century skills. And it is not only about solving problem, but it is about solving real life problems and taking steps to resolve problems, and designing and managing projects, interpreting information, or say to make decisions. And you are going to engage yourself in inquiry and transferring your learning to others. So these are vital steps and cognitive actions in design thinking process. So it is necessary that when we talk about the skill, the skill, though you have the skill, you should be able to transfer that to the next generation. And that is how we are going to learn about it. So critical thinking is one very a key component of like STEAM education or design thinking. And then Then we have communication and collaboration. Okay, and then in its processes, because skills and like or cognition part is very important, and we have to, as design thinkers, we have to collaborate and work in teams. And I also believe in working in teams, because when you work in teams, like you need very strong communication skills, and then you'll be able to collaborate with others, and then you can learn from them, and then you can have a very good design thinking. And then, of course, creativity is yours. It is your idea, it is your area of thinking something, like your way of looking for solutions. Okay, and you are the one who takes a lot of risks, like, and making discoveries through inquiry, pursuing new ideas to meet a need, and then you are going to lead with an ethical spirit. So design thinking always like talks about creativity and then the competencies that you have for 21st century skills. And then, of course, the collaboration, as I said, collaboration is equally important, because if you, when you are working in team, if you don't have collaboration, and that is not going to work, like, and your results may not be so impactful. So you can also include this in your curriculum. So when we talk about curriculum, like 21st century skill and how they can be integrated. Now, I think I mentioned this before also. It is integrating in curriculum, because when you are integrating in your curriculum, and this team is very, very required skill that for this century. And then you can have your own curriculum when you talk about integration. I think I mentioned about Nepal, where the government has designed, and then the curriculum for the as integrated curriculum, where all these subjects are being used in the classrooms. And this is if like STEAM is included in the classroom, I think the students will be able to learn and understand and use their skills and knowledge and their creativity to become a very good human being, as well as and they can also excel in their academic field. So this will really help the students if we can like have STEAM based curriculum. And are you understanding what I'm saying? Or do you have any problem? I'm the only one who is speaking today.
No, ma'am, understood.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, and then I'll take few minutes to mention few things, and then we can have a discussion. And all these methods, like teachers should, I think they should be able to like create their own pedagogy, use it as a pedagogy to integrate STEAM education in their curriculum. So in this way they can help the students like prepare for the future, and then like work in such a way that uh, they have a classroom which we again call it as 21st century classroom. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of classroom you are designing in like for the students, for the coming students, and then engage them in different activities, project-based learnings, and they can apply it in different ways so that the students can develop and engage themselves, and then the skill they develop and the knowledge they have, and to become very creative, and they will be the ones who are innovators to have different kinds of ideas through STEAM curriculum. So design thinking will be one component where you are preparing students to come up with the different ideas, different learning, and different knowledge, so they can share with their team and the classroom, and again, as I said, academically, they'll be very, very good in designing their own project. So this is how, like why I mentioned about design thinking so much is because it is always very important. It is always going to help students, understand in a better way. And this is where we are going to use our design thinking in education. And we all know that it is the mindset and approach to learning, collaboration, and problem solving. So it's a kind of like design thing. The design process is a structured framework, and it's for identifying challenges, collecting information, generating potential solutions, refining ideas, and testing solutions as based on the model that we talked about. Okay. So you can give them different, like project work to work on so that they can design on their own. So you give them a project and ask them to develop a project by giving them some tasks. I think I mentioned few way of doing it last time. When you have to think about design thinking, it's not about all the time a product. You can create a session, or you can talk about. Oh, sorry, ma'am. There's a call. Sorry for this. Okay, so let's work on this. Can anyone think of any like process where you are trying to give your students in the upcoming days, you are trying to give your students what you really want to create, what you really want them to create as design design thinkers? Anyone? Anyone who can, you can share.
Ma'am, do we need to germinate the idea in the student's mind?
No.
As teachers?
Because you have been doing it very well, ma'am. Like in your classroom. I know that your ideas are excellent. And,
Thank
like while
you.
listening to ma'am, like, oh, I think others, it is a kind of, when we were listening to Anjali ma'am, then, lots of ideas come in our mind, and others also should try to have those ideas in your brain, like, so I am going to use that in my classroom. And this is how we are going. Ma'am, if you have some more ideas, you can also share with others.
Thank you. I did do some video clips and posted it on our channel. For me, it's a daily task. It's a day-to-day routine. It's very easy to implement. And I think we do not need resources as such. It's the teacher's resourcefulness that matters,
Okay.
You should be able to do presentations or activities, collaborative, lessons, even using stuff from nature like leaves and stones and sand and seashells, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, things bought from a store.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, use the resources that you have around you. You don't have to buy something very expensive, right? So use those things, like where you can use it as mathematics, or you can use it for maths, to explain maths, or use for science, like technology. Recently, yesterday actually I was outside the city, and then I think I've mentioned that, and I have told those people, it's a very remote area in Nepal, and then I told the teachers to use the resources that they have around themselves, like say stones, like a brick, or say sticks or twigs, or like boxes. So use those, and use those materials in the classroom, and then you can create your own curriculum, project-based curriculum or project learning curriculum. So the students learn to create, like themselves, working together in a team. So this is how we are going to teach. We are teaching the ECT teachers in remote areas where you cannot buy or you do not have access to expensive materials. Yes, Anjali ma'am, thank you so much. That is how we are going to do it.
Thank you, ma'am.
And yes, and the students will be very creative, you know. Instead of giving them very expensive stuffs, it is better that you give them, you know, the things that you have around your, you know, like your yourself, and then they will be more creative and they can, you know, like design so many things out of it. It's not that it's their knowledge is not limited, and they can be so creative and they can have so many things in their mind. And I really love doing this, you know, like while teaching, while they're training these teachers to develop their own curriculum based, you know, like learning in the classroom. Yes, thank you so much, Anjali ma'am. Is there anyone who has been doing it or who is trying to develop your own, you know, like, or I would rather say integrated curriculum? So if you are having any different kinds of plans to use the locally available resources. Anyone who has any idea or who you think that, okay, I'll be using this. I want to do in this manner. Do you have any ideas on this? Even languages, you know, like language can be used for, you know, language. If you are teaching them language, how are you going to teach them languages? It can be your Singali language or it can be your English language. How are you going to do that? If you have to teach a language to your students, how are you going
Miss Sachita,
Yes.
I got these little
Wow.
pieces
Okay.
of wood
Mm-hmm.
cut. It's for construction.
Wow.
So
Lovely.
instead of plastic building blocks, I'm going to give these and
Mhm.
little
Yeah,
plants.
I can see that. Yes. Oh, really nice, ma'am. Yeah, this is how you're going to do it, because most of the time when you go to the, you know, like carpenter's store, sometimes you can see them, you know,
Yeah.
like throwing away all these
Yeah.
pieces. No? Yeah, lovely.
Yes.
This is how
Yeah.
you're going
So
to
I
make
got
it.
it polished so that they can stack. Yes, stack them and
Yeah, use them and then create their own
yes,
designs. Right, right.
yes. It will be design and engineering. So
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing that. Because usually whenever I come across, you know, like the carpenter's workshop, I see them, you know, throwing away the pieces of wood. So I collect it, I then, you know, like I make it very smooth and then I color it so that the children can use them in their classroom. Yeah. And then you can teach science, you can teach engineer, you can teach math. No? Hmm. Yes,
can write numbers at the back and they
exactly.
can yes.
Yes, you can write numbers or you can write alphabets and you can teach them. Yeah, this is
Yes.
how you're going to
Yeah.
do it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that,
Thank you.
sharing that. Anyone has any idea? This is how you're going to learn and you're going to develop your own prototype. That's why I said, mention about the, you know, like information technology in your everyday schedule. So how are you going to use your technology part, you know, like information technology, IT part in your daily lesson? So it depends. It's not all the time. Don't bring videos from other videos, you know, like why don't you make your own video and have a voiceover? You do it on your own and then you take, you know, like video and then you can have your voice. It's simple. And then children will understand what you're saying. So this is how we are going to learn from and let make the students understand what they really want to make out of it. Yeah. Yeah, they're very nice. You know, like products that you have and the ideas that you have are very, very excellent. And most of the time, you know, like I use natural things like leaves, twigs, yeah, and then plants. And even that also helps a lot, you know, like how If you have to teach science, you can always have different way of making them understand how the stem and how the roots and how the flowers like work when you are teaching science. And of course language. Language comes like all the time simultaneously, because you are using your mother tongue and then you are using different words for children, so you can integrate science and language at the same time. So that is how you're going to develop a STEAM curriculum. And remember, please remember that you don't need to worry about, oh, what should I teach tomorrow? You don't have to worry about that, because once you have developed your own curriculum, once you have developed your, or rather say, prepared your lesson plan, it becomes very easy. You don't need to worry about it. So this is how you're going to do it. So that's why I asked, there are 56 people altogether. We have 56, 57 people. So if anyone, some more can share what I just mentioned about design thinking, I'll be very happy to know. We are 56. So anyone who wants to share about how you are integrating STEAM in your curriculum. Because tomorrow I'm not going to talk about design thinking. I'll be talking about something else. I'll be talking about more of IT in STEAM education. So if you have any idea, new idea, innovative idea that you have been using in STEAM, because it is said that recently I had watched UNICEF's I think a documentary, and it talks about how you can start your teaching your children from home, and how they should learn about. It starts from the kitchen, it starts from the house, especially from their kitchen, how you are going to help them understand what you are talking about. And the language, when you have to talk about language, you can use new words, different new words every day. So they are learning at least 5 or 6 words a day, new words. So language can be improved like that. Is there anyone who wants to talk, speak, say something? Chami, is it Chami? What? Is she there? Or, like I'll be talking a little bit about, not only about IT, but I'll be talking about the education part. So when we talk about, STEAM is education, STEAM in education, when we have to talk so many things about it, because if you look into education part, we talk about progressive education. We have heard about so much about progressive education. So progressive and conservative education. What do you understand by conservative education, and what do you understand by progressive education? There are so many schools who they call themselves progressive learning. So I don't know in Sri Lanka how many of you have heard about progressive learning. So this, I'll link it with theory, and then we'll discuss on this, not today, but tomorrow. And then, okay, let's have a brainstorm for 5 minutes. So if you talk about education at the training of mind, what do you think about it? What do you think education is, like when you have to represent an appropriate model of education? Do you think that you believe in traditional way of learning, or you believe in the progressive way of learning? So which one do you think that would be the best one for the new generation? Progressive, no? And then, I think there's a misunderstanding or misconception, I would say, not understanding, conception, because there are so many people who have not understood the difference between like conservative and progressive. Now, what is progressive? What do you understand? I hear so many people saying that, oh, my school is like is a place where students have progressive learning. So what do you understand by progressive learning? Ma'am, can you explain a little bit on that? If you, whatever you know. Do you have any idea? Anyone who has an idea about progressive school or progressive learning?
Yes, ma'am. The
Yeah.
students
Okay.
are allowed to experiment, explore, and formulate their own ideas and become critical thinkers. All that should be in the progressive curriculum,
Okay. Yes.
where
Very
children are given the freedom of choice,
good.
where the teacher becomes a facilitator,
Okay.
not the focal point.
Yes. Yes, very well said. Because if you look at like traditional conservative schools, like where we used to have teacher in the center, and then like giving everything or putting everything in the children's mind. Nowadays we call ourselves facilitators rather than teachers, because we need to like facilitate the session rather than like every time tell the students to do this and do that. So how are we going to help the students understand what they are learning? So we facilitate. So that is that is what we are looking for in progressive school. And we can always have strengths and weaknesses of the like being a conservative and being in a conservative or a progressive school. So we'll discuss about this also a little bit, not so in detail, because I don't want to go in depth about understanding all these very difficult terms. So we'll just talk about few things about progressive and conservative school, and how we are going to learn about it, and how we are constructing and reconstructing the education that we have. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then like how are you going to reflect on like how what do you think about the progressive school or progressive learner. So we have different there are so many things that we need to learn, but since we don't have much time, and then we are going to we are focusing on STEAM education. So it is very important that we need to understand why STEAM is so important, why we have to integrate STEAM in our education system or in your classroom. And without any delay, like we should uh, start working on this rather than waiting for the principal or the management of the school to implement integrated curriculum. So you can start on your own without even asking, I would say, which we had been doing for quite a long time. And this will definitely will help us, like make kind of sense that, yeah. Okay, so I don't want to take much time. We still have 5 minutes, but I think I'm going to quit for today. And tomorrow I will be talking. Now, I'm not going to talk about design thinking. I will be focusing more on STEAM, and then a little bit of education, and then about IT in STEAM education. Okay, why IT is so important in STEAM education. Since we are talking about 21st century skill, and we are all living in 21st century, so why is it so necessary or important to understand IT in STEAM education? If you have any question, as I said earlier, you can jot it down and then you can ask, or if you want to share something which is new, which is innovative, which is interesting, you can always share in the classroom. And I can only see that very few people are talking, and the same people are talking in the session during the session. So I want others also to, like speak what they have felt and what they have understood. If you haven't understood also, it's okay. At least, like you are there to ask question. Yes? Is that okay? Ma'am, over to you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. So you're expecting a lot from us. So hope the be prepared to speak to you tomorrow, actually, to have a good interacting session. So actually, ma'am is expecting us to speak up on our experience on her lectures and like how we have upgraded ourselves with her support. So let's express those so that we can actually clear our doubts also. So let's speak up tomorrow. So be prepared, teachers. Thank you
Yes,
so
and
much.
it is better that if you can at least share about your lesson plan on STEAM education. That'll be great.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then I would like to quit for today. Thank you very much. Everyone have a good night. Sleep well and see you tomorrow and then discuss further.
Thank you
Okay,
so
thank
much.
you everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Good
much.
night.
Good
Thank you,
night.
ma'am. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. Take care.
Good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, teachers. So now it's the briefing session. I would like to invite Ms. Ruzaika to start on the briefing. Before that, I just wanted to tell you all something. Actually, Ruzaika ma'am is doing a great job because soon after the lesson, briefing the whole thing is not an easy task. So with all her effort, she takes down all her notes, and the briefing on the session is a great effort, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. And also, if anybody wish to add up on the translation, definitely you're welcome, right? So if anybody wants to add up onto the briefing, definitely we will welcome you. You can send me a message so that I can give you also an opportunity next time. Actually, we want teachers to speak up. Actually, we wanted to train the teachers to speak up and move forward to actually to train you to become a teacher who can speak in front of audience, right? So now since we don't face people, this is in cameras we do, so since we also can come up very well. So just take it as a chance, and if anybody prefers to do the translation, definitely you will be given an opportunity. So send me your suggestions. As we said, you can write down your comments in the link which we have shared. You can update so that your nothing will be visible to anybody. Only few high authorities will be checking in to improvise on the progress. So please pass your comments over that also. So we'll have a record of it so we can work on it. Okay, teachers. So let's move forward for the briefing session. Ma'am Rusaika, good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, Sugandhi Miss. And there was an officer who was messaging saying that she is ready to speak in Sinhala, or shall we give an opportunity for her and come back?
Yeah, fine. I did not.
I don't know. I don't know who is the officer, but I just saw in the chat.
No. She said that, no, I asked her to rename. So then she said she's here to translate it
Okay.
to. So you start for today. So we'll ask if she's ready. We can ask after yours.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
ma'am. Continue.
සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් සියලු දෙනාටම අදත් අපි කතා කරේ ඩිසයින් තින්කින් කොහොමද මේ ඩිසයින් එක අපි මේ කොලැබරේට් කරන්න කියලා මම නැවත අධ්‍යයන පහ මතක් කරලම මම යන්නම් එතකොට ඔයගලන්ට පොඩ්ඩක් ආයි රීකැප් එකක් වෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා එම්පතයිසින් නොතර එම්පතයිසින් කියලා කියන්නේ අපි අතුරාන්තයට ගිහිල්ලා කෙනෙක්ගේ මිනිස්සාගේ කිව්ව මිනිසා කේන්ද්‍රගත කරන්න කියලා. එතකොට අපි ස්ටීම් අධ්‍යාපනයේදී අපි දරුවා කේන්ද්‍රගත කරා. මෙතනදී මිනිසා කේන්ද්‍රගත කරන දරුවා තරුණ පරපුර ඒ සියලු කොටස් දෙකට අන්තර්ගතයි. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලන් ගැන අපි රිසර්ච් කරලා හොඳට එක්ස්පෙරිමන්ට් කරලා ඔබ්සර්ව් කරලා මිනිසාගේ අවශ්‍යතාවය අඳුනගෙන අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ උවමනා අඳුනගෙන තමයි අපි නිෂ්පාදනයක් කරන්නේ. මෙතනදී නිෂ්පාදනය පමණක් නෙමෙයි සේවාවන් ඇතුළත් වෙනවා. නිෂ්පාදනයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් අපි කරන දේ සමහරවිට සේවාවක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර සේවාවක් කරනකොට එම්පතයිසින් කියන එක ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත්. ඒතර අපි අනිත් අය ගැන හිතලා අනුකම්පාවටත් එහා ගිය දෙයක් අපි භාණ්ඩයක් නිෂ්පාදනය කරනකොට හරි සේවාවක් සපයනකොට අපි අනුකම්පා කළ යුතුයි. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඇත්තටම අපිට සමාජයට ඒක හොඳ නැත්තම් සමාජයට ඒක තරණ පරපුරට ඇත්තට මේක නරක දෙයක් නම් අපි ඒක සමාජගත කරන එක ඒක සුදුසු නැහැ. එතකොට ඒක පරිහානියක් සිද්ධ වෙන සමාජයට විතරක් නෙමෙයි අපේ රටටම. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මෙතනදී කරුණු පළවෙනි කාරණාව එම්පතයිසින්. දෙවෙනි කාරණාව ඩිස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්න කිව්වා. ඒ කියන්නේ කොහොමද? මම මේ දැන් මෙතනදී එයා කිව්වා ඉන්ක්වයරි බේස්ඩ් ලර්නින්. IBL එකට කතා කරා, එන්ජිලා මෑම් එකත් කතා කරා, සිස්ටර් මෑම් එකත් කතා කරා. ඉන්ක්වයරි බේස්ඩ් ලර්නින් එකේදී අපි කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ? මොනවද අපි මේකට පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ? මොකද්ද අපි අන්තර්ගතය? මොකද්ද අපි නොකළ යුතුයි? මොකද්ද ඇතුළත් කළ යුතුයි? කියන එක අපි ඩිස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරගන්න, ඩිෆයින් කරගන්න ඕනේ. කියන්නේ පැහැදිලි කිරීම. අපි පැහැදිලි වෙන්න ඕනේ අපි මොන වගේ භාණ්ඩයක්ද මේ නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න යන්නේ, මොනවද සේවාවක් අපි සපයන්නේ කියලා. එතකොට අපි පැහැදිලි වෙන්න ඕනේ මේ ප්‍රශ්න කරලා. ඒකට තමයි එතන ස්ටීම් අධ්‍යාපනයත් එයා වැදගත් කිව්වේ. තුන්වෙනි කාරණාව ideate. මේක කොහොමද මේක ආවේ, මේක අයිඩියා කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඊට පස්සේ ප්‍රොටෝටයිප් එකක මුල කෘති අපේ මං කිව්වා ඔල්රෙඩි අපේ බ්‍රේන් එකේ තියෙන දෙයක්. ඒක ඉතාමත්ම සරල. අදත් එයා කතා කරා ඒ ටෙක්නික්. අපි මොන ටෙක්නික් එකද පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ? ඔල්රෙඩි අපි දන්නවා මේ ටෙක්නික් එක අපි පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කිව්වා IT ඩිසයින් එක කරනකොට දැන් අපි normally ෆ්ලෑෂ් කාඩ්ස් පෙන්නුවා, ළමෙක්ට වයිට් බෝඩ් එකේ ඇඳලා පෙන්නුවා. ඔන්න දැන් අපි මෙතනදී ප්‍රොටෝටයිප් එක ඒක වෙන්න පුළුවන් බෝඩ් එකේ ලියන එක. දැන් අපි මොනවද කරන්නේ? දරුවාට ප්‍රොජෙක්ටර් එකක් දාලා පෙන්නනවා. මෙන්න මෙහෙම තමයි මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ටර්. එතකොට දරුවා ආසයි. මොකද තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය කියන දේ දැන් ළමයි අතර තරුණ පරපුර සමස්ත ජනතාව මිනිස්සු අතර ඒක ඉතාමත් ප්‍රසිද්ධ දෙයක්. එතකොට තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය දැන් එන්න දැන් සමහරක් වෙලාවට අපිට වඩා පොඩි ළමයි මේ තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය ලස්සනට පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඒකම අපි කිව්වා අපි PowerPoint. දැන් මම ඒක කරුණු පහට අමතරව කතා කරා IT design thinking එකට කොහොමද මේ තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය අපි උපයෝග කරගන්නේ. එතකොටදී අපි ගොඩක් කතා කරා ඩිජිටල් තාක්ෂණය. දැන් ෆෝන්ස් වල ඩිජිටල් එනවානේ. ඔයගලන් දන්නවා Apple iPhone කියලා පාවිච්චි කරා watch එක දැන් අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා. watch එක දැන් මෙන්න මේ වගේ watch පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. right? එතකොට ඒකද ස්මාර්ට් watch කියලා පාවිච්චි කරනවා. එතකොට artificial intelligence ඒක හරි ප්‍රසිද්ධයි. ගොඩාක් ඔයගලන් දන්නවා chat GPT කියලා. ඒකෙදි ගැව්වම ඔයගලන්ට අවශ්‍ය සියලු තොරතුරු අසයින්මන්ට්ස් එහෙම කරන්න යන්න ලෑස්ති වෙන්න එපා. ඒක මතේ මේව වෙලා මම කිව්වේ. හැබැයි සෑහෙන දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. මගේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් කියන පුංචි උදාහරණයක් කියන්න. එයා chat GPT එකෙන් ගොඩාක් දේවල් ඉගෙනගෙන අද ඉංග්‍රීසි පුදුම විදියට එයා ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරනවා. ඒකට ප්‍රධාන හේතුව එයා chat GPT පාවිච්චි කරා. නමුත් ඒක copy paste කරපු එක නෙමෙයි එයා කරේ. ඒ තුලින් එයා ඉගෙන ගත්ත එක. ඔයගලන්ට අවශ්‍ය දේ ඔයගලන් chat GPT එක ගැව්වම ඔයගලන් හින දැන් Google හා සමානයි. Google වලදී pictures එනවා, websites එනවා. සමහර websites වලට ගිහිලා තමයි අපි තොරතුරු ගන්න ඕනේ. අපිට ඒක download කරගන්න බැරි අවස්ථා තියෙනවා. නමුත් chat GPT එකේම නෙමෙයි ඔයගලන් කියන විදිහට අපි කිව්වොත් අපි දන්න ඉංග්‍රීසි එකෙන් අපි කඩ යවුවොත් ඔයගලන්ට හරි දේ ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ඇත්තටම artificial intelligence. ඒක එක්තරා design thinking එකක් තමයි. මොකද Google එක ආවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඊට කලින් ආවේ pictures. ඊට පස්සේ අපි download කරන්න ගෙවලා download කරන්න උනා. දැන් අපිට අපි use කරන data එකම අපිට download කරන්න පුළුවන්. free download කරන්න websites තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට අන්න ඒකයි කිව්වේ. මේ IT තාක්ෂණය ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත් මේ design thinking එක කරනකොට. ඒ වගේම PowerPoint. දැන් PowerPoint එක අපි slides යවල කතා කරනවා. ඒක මම හිතන්නේ වගේ 1971 81 වල ඉඳලම ওই PowerPoint එක තියෙනවා. දැන් අපිට පුළුවන් 3D තාක්ෂණය යොදා ගන්න. දැන් movie බලන්න ගියත් අපිට 3D තාක්ෂණයේ movies තියෙනවා. English movie ද දැන් අපි මෙතන සිංහලෙන් අපිට හිතන්නේ සිංහලෙනුත් අපිට 3D movie එකක් ළඟදී මාස 6කට කලින් විතර මම හිතන්නේ රිලීස් වුණා. එතකොට ඒ තාක්ෂණය අපි උපයෝගී කර ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේම වීඩියෝ ක්ලිප්. එතකොට කෙනෙක් කතා කරලා කිව්වා අපිට මුහුදට යන්න බැරි නම් අපි මුහුද ළඟට ගේනවා. ඒතර දරුවාට ඒ අත්දැකීම අපි තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය හරහා ලබා දෙනවා. එතනදී ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එකක් වැදගත්. මොකද අපිට මේ තොරතුරු දරුවාට ලබා දෙනකොට මේ තාක්ෂණය පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද සියලු දේ දැන් තියෙන තාක්ෂණය. අපි වුණත් අද මේ රැට ඉගෙන ගන්න මේ තාක්ෂණය දිනු නිසා. දැන් කොවිඩ් කාලේදී Zoom තාක්ෂණය ප්‍රසිද්ධ වෙලා තිබ්බේ නැහැ. ඒක ප්‍රොටෝටයිප් එකක්. තිබ්බ කොන්ෆරන්ස් කරන්න පිටරට වලින් බිස්නස්මන්ලා එන්ටර්ප්‍රෙනර්ස්ලා කියන්නේ ව්‍යාපාරිකයෝ ඒගොල්ලන් තමයි ওই තාක්ෂණය පාවිච්චි කරේ. ඒකත් 100 දෙනෙක්ට සීමා වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ කොවිඩ් වලින් පස්සේ ඒක ප්‍රොටෝටයිප් එකක් කරලා ඒක තව වැඩි දියුණු කරා. ඒක ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන් එම්පතයිස් කරා රයිට් කොවිඩ් මේ මිනිස්සුන්ට අපහසුයි අධ්‍යාපනය කඩා වැටිලා තියෙනවා. මේක නැවත අපි ගොඩනගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක අධ්‍යාපන මේක සිස්ටම් එක කෙලිම ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම යුතුයි. ඊට පස්සේ ඩිසයින් කරා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක පැහැදිලි කරා. ඊට පස්සේ අවසානයේ ටෙස්ට් කරලා අපිට ලබා දුන්නේ. දැන් ඒකෙන් අපිට හොඳ ප්‍රතිඵලයක් ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක තමයි බ්‍රේන්ස්ටෝම් එකේදී එයා කතා කරේ. ඒ වගේම එයා කතා කරා DT, design thinking, IT, information technology, STEAM education. මේ තුනම ඉන්ටග්‍රේට් කරලා ඒකාබද්ධ කරා නම් අපිට 21 වන සතවර්ෂයට සූදානම් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නිකන් නෙමේ හැකියාවෙන් පරිපූර්ණ වෙච්ච පුද්ගලයෙක් හැටියට. අන්න ඒක තමයි එතනදී ආ කතා කරේ. කීපවතාවක් මෙයා 21st century skills ගැන කතා කරා. අපිට හැකියාවන් තියෙනවා. අපිට කුසලතාවයන් තියෙනවා. අපිට තියෙන්නේ මේක උත්පාදනය කරලා අපි යා කිව්වා සින්තටයිස් කරන්න කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ පාර්ට්ස් අපි මේකට එකතු කරනවා. අතරින් කොටසක් මෙතනින් කොටසක් වැදගත් ඒවා අපි එකතු කරගෙන කොලැබොරේට් කරගෙන කණ්ඩායමක් ඇටියට එක්ස්පර්ට්ස්ලාත් එක්ක සින්තටයිස් කරලා අවසානයේ අපි ටෙස්ට් කරන ඇනලයිස් කරනවා මේක කොහොමද මේක එක්සමයින් කරනවා රයිට් මේක සුදුසුද නුසුදුසුද කොයි වයස් කාණ්ඩයේද දැන් සමහර තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණයේ යොදාගෙන අපි කරන ඩිසයින් තින්කින් තියෙනවා එක්තරා වයස් කාණ්ඩයකට සීමා වෙච්ච. එතකොට ඒකත් අපි බලන්න ඕනේ. අපි මොනාර නිෂ්පාදනය කරනකොට ඒ ගැනත් අපි හිතන්න ඕනේ. රටේ තියෙන සම්පත් ගැන හිතන්න ඕනේ. දැන් අපේ පෙර පාසලක් සාමාන්‍ය ප්‍රාථමික අධ්‍යාපනයක් ගන්නකොට එයා කිව්ව ගොඩාක් හිතන්න එපා සම්පත් ගැන. අපිට තියෙන සීමිත සම්පත් උනත් අපිට ඒක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට විනාඩියක් 1 minute. අපිට සීමිත සම්පත් උනත් අපිට පාවිච්චි කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අන්න එතකොටදී මෙතනදී එයා කතා කරා මොකක්ද තියෙන්න ඕනේ ස්කිල්ස්. අපිට තිබිය යුතු හැකියාවන් මොනවාද? දැන් අපි ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එකක් කරනවා. දැන් අපි ආසයිනේ අලුත් දෙයක් තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණයත් එක්ක එකතු කරලා මෙන්න මේ වැඩේට අපි බහිනවා කියලා කියමුකෝ. පළවෙනි කාරණාව එයා කිව්වේ ෆ්ලෙක්සිබල් වෙන්න ඕනේ. අපි පොඩ්ඩක් පහසු විදියට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි තෝරන නිෂ්පාදනයක් භාණ්ඩයක් අපිට පහසු විදියට හැන්ඩල් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ෆස්ට් එකට අපි පාස් වෙලා ඉන්න නෙමෙයි. දැන් අපිට පුළුවන් දෙයක් මේක කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක අපි බර්ඩන් එකක් කරගන්න බෑ. මේක බර්ඩන් මේක අමාරුයි කියලා අපි හිතාගෙන මේ වැඩේට අපි බැස්සාම පොඩ්ඩක් අපිට එම්පතයිසින් පැත්ත අපිට මගහැරින්න පුළුවන්. ඒ නිසා ෆ්ලෙක්සිබිලිටි. ඒ වගේම problem solving strategies කියලා කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවා නම් ඒක විසඳන්න පුළුවන් හැකියාවක් අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ටෙස්ට් වලදී අපිට ප්‍රශ්න මතුවෙනවා. right අපි විභාගයේ ප්‍රශ්න ලියනකොට අපිට ප්‍රශ්න මතුවෙනවා නේද? අපි සමහරට ඒක පාඩම් කරගෙන ගිහලා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඒක ක්‍රමානුකූලව විසඳන්න පුළුවන් හැකියාවක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේක. ඒක විභාගයක ලියන ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රයක් වගේ නෙමෙයි මෙතනදී. මොකද අපි භාණ්ඩයක් හා සේවාවක් තමයි මේ නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න යන්නේ. එතකොට සමාජගත කරන්න යන්නේ. right මිනිසා කේන්ද්‍රගත කරගෙන. ඒ වචනේ මම නැවත පාවිච්චි කරේ ඔයගලන්ට ඒතර මතකෙට එන්නේ නිසා. එතකොට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවොත් මේක විසඳන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට දැන් මෙන්න දැන් ෆෝන් එකක් හීට් වෙනවා. හීට් වුණාම ඒකට ඔප්ෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඩිස්ප්ලේ එක කැඩෙනවා. ඩිස්ප්ලේ කැඩුනම තව ඩිස්ප්ලේ එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්කමක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ තමයි ඒ නිෂ්පාදනයේදී ඒ ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවම මේක විසඳන්න පුළුවන්කමක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොටනේ ඒකට ඉල්ලුමක් තියෙන්නේ. එයා ඒක ගිය සතියේ කතා කරා ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකක්. ඒක නැවත අපිට හදලා පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් තමයි ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකක් තියෙන්නේ. අපිට වොරන්ටි නැත්නම් අපි ගන්නෙ නැහැනේ. අන්න ඒ වගේ. එතකොට ඩිමාන්ඩ් එකක් තියෙනවා ප්‍රශ්නයක් විසඳන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම කොහමදත් ඒකේ සැබෑ අයිතිකරු ඔබ. ඔබේ නිර්මාණ සැබෑ අයිතිකරු ඔබ. එතකොට සියලු වගකීම් ඔබ සතුයි. ඒ වගේම අපි රික්වයර්මන්ට්ස්. අපි බලන්න ඕනේ අවශ්‍යතා මොනවද කියලා. සමාජයට අවශ්‍ය නැති දෙයක් අපිට සමාජයට දෙන්න බෑ. දරුවෙක්ට අවශ්‍ය නැති දෙයක් දරුවෙක්ට දීලා වැඩක් නැහැ. දරුවාගේ වයසට සුදුසු දෙයක් දරුවට දීලා වැඩක් නැහැ. වයසට සුදුසු එතනදී ආ පෙරපාසල් පමණක් කතා කරන්නේ. එයා ඇවිල්ලා තරුණ primary education ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රාථමික අධ්‍යාපනය secondary අධ්‍යාපනය සාමාන්‍ය මේක අපිට උසස් පෙළ සාමාන්‍ය පෙළ දරුවන්ට උනත් දැන් අපි කරන NVQ ක්‍රමය කිව්වා එතනදී වෘත්තිමය වශයෙන් අපි පුහුණු කරනවා කියලා. එතකොට මේ ටික අපිට එකට කොලැබොරේට් කරගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒ හැකියාවක් අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම තොරතුරු හොයන්න ඕනේ. අපි තොරතුරු හොයලා බලන්න. නැත්නම් අර Nokia ෆෝන් එකට වැච්ච වැඩේ තමයි අපිටත් වෙන්නේ. අපි තොරතුරු හොඳට හොයලා බලන හැකියාවක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මම මේක මගේ නිෂ්පාදනය රයිට් මම කරනවා මම ඩිසයින් කරා කියලා මට මේක සමාජයට දාන්න බෑ. මේක රටට දාන්න බෑ. මොකද මම මෙතනදී search for information මේ ගැන තොරතුරු හොයන්න ඕනේ. මේක කොහොමද මේක එන්නේ කොහොමද රයිට් මේක මෙව කරොත් කොහොමද කොච්චර ඉල්ලුමක් තියෙනවද මේක මට කරගන්න පුළුවන් වේද අන්න ඒ දැන් අපි පෙරපස්ලා පටන් ගන්න කලිනුත් අපි හිතනවානේ අපි අධ්‍යාපනයේ සුසුකම් ටික මොනවාද එතකොට අපි ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් ටික හොයලා තමයි අපි වැඩේට බහින්නේ ඒ වගේම solution හොඳ විසඳුමක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්කමක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ ඕනම ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවද ඒක problem solving ඒ වගේම decision making හොඳට තීරණ අරගෙන ප්‍රශ්න විසඳන්න පුළුවන්කමක් වෙන්න ඕනේ හැබැයි අවසානයක් කියනවා recheck check කරන්න check කරලා දෙන්නේ testing එකක් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකයි design thinking අවුනා කියන එක න හොඳට නැවත check කරලා මේක දෙන්න. එතකොට මේ පහම තියෙනවද? මම empathize වෙලා තියෙනවද? මම මේක පැහැදිලි කරාද? මේක test කරාද? මේක prototype කොහෙන් ආපු prototype එකක්ද? මේක ඉස්සර තිබ්බ එකක් අපි already තියෙන දෙයක්. මම මේක කොහොමද මේක නවීකරණය කරන්නේ කියලා අපිට ඒක කල්පනා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ මෙයා කිව්වා මේක curriculum එකකට එකතු කරන්න වඩා හොඳයි. ඒ වගේම මෙතනදී එයා කියනවා නිපුණතා මට්ටම ඉතා ඉහළයි කියලා. ඇත්තටම නිපුණතාවෙන් පිරිච්ච කෙනෙක්ට ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එක කොලැබොරේට් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒකාබද්ධ කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපිට හොඳ වැඩක් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අන්න ඒක තමයි එයා කිව්වේ. හොඳ කරිකියුලම් එකක් ඕගලන් දරුවාට මේ කරිකියුලම් එක හදන්න. මේ කරිකියුලම් එකට ඇතුළත් කරන්න. ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එක ඇතුළත් කරන්න. IT තාක්ෂණය ඇතුළත්. මෙතනදී අපිට අන්තිමට අවසාන ලැබෙන ප්‍රතිඵලය මොකද්ද? 21 වන සතවර්ෂයට දරුවා සූදානම් කරනවා real world problem. දැන් අපිට ඇත්තම real world problems ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. මේ නවීන ලෝකය real world මේ ඇත්තටම අපි ජීවත් වෙන ලෝකයේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න වලට මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන් ඉනෝවේටර්ස්ලා හැකියාවෙන් පිරිපුන් නිපුණතාවයෙන් පරිපූර්ණ මිනිස්සු පුද්ගලයා කියලා මේ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා තමයි එයා කියන්නේ. ඒ වගේම ඒ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක හොඳට මැනේජ් කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ නිෂ්පාදනය අපි කොහොමද මේක කළමනාකරණය කරන්නේ? ඉල්ලුමට අනුව සපේමක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි හැමෝටම මේ දේ ලැබෙන්නේ. එතකොට එතනදී අපිට පොඩි රිස්ක් එකක් ගන්න වෙනවා. පොඩි අවදානමක් ගන්න වෙනවා. නමුත් අපි ඉලක්කයක් කරා ගියොත් අපිට ඒක සාර්ථක කරගන්න පුළුවන්. එයා කිව්ව පෙර පාසලදී ප්‍රාථමික අධ්‍යාපනයේ ළමයාට පුංචි ඉලක්කයක් දෙන්න. තොරතුරු තාක්ෂණය පාවිච්චි කරලා ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එක පාවිච්චි කරලා පුංචි ඉලක්කයක් දෙන්න. ඔයගලන්ට තියෙන සම්පත් ඒ දරුවට ලබා දෙන්න. ඒ ලබා දීලා ඒ ඉලක්කය කරා ළඟා වෙන්න ෆැසිලිටේටර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න කියලා. ගුරුවරයෙක් වෙනවට වඩා ෆැසිලිටේටර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න ළඟ ඉඳලා ඒ දරුවට උපදෙස් දීලා ඒ ඉලක්කය සාර පුංචි ඉලක්ක වලින් පටන් ගන්න කිව්වා පුංචි ටාස්ක් වලින් පටන් ගන්න කිව්වා. එතකොට අපිට එයාගේ ඒ certain age එකක් එනකොට ඒ ඉලක්කයට සාර්ථක කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අන්න එතනදී අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මෙන්න එතකොට අපිට අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරන්න පුළුවන් දරුවාට තියෙන දක්ෂතාවය මොකක්ද කියන්නේ. අන්න ඒ ටික තමයි අද එයා පැහැදිලිව කතා කරේ. අපි ඩිසයින් තින්කින් එකම තමයි නැවත කතා කරේ. තාක්ෂණය කොහොමද පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ කියලා. ආර්ටිෆිෂල් ඉන්ටෙලිජන්ස්, වීඩියෝ ක්ලිප්ස්, 3D තාක්ෂණය, තව නවීන දේවල් අපිට එකතු කරලා දරුවා 21 වර්ෂයට සූදානම් කරන්න හැකියාවෙන් පිරිපුන් නිපුණතාවයෙන් පිරිපුන් පුද්ගලයෙක් සහ දරුවෙක් බිහි කිරීම තමයි අපි කළ යුත්තේ. ඒ වගේම එයා කිව්ව හෙට අපි කතා කරන්නේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෙසිව් এডুকেෂන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රගතිය කරා යන එක අන්තික කොන්සර්වේටිව් කියලා කියන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය සිංහලෙන් කියලා කියන්නේ ගතානුගතික. ඒ කියන්නේ පුද්ගලයේ reluctant to accept the change. ඒ කියන්නේ වෙනසට කැමති නැහැ. ඒකත් එක්කම තමයි යන්න කැමති. අර පැරණි ක්‍රමෙම යන්න කැමති. ඒතර ඒ දෙක එයා කතා කරනකොට මම පොඩ්ඩක් මතක් කරේ. එතකොට ඕගලන් ඒ ගැන තව විස්තර ටිකක් ඕගලන්ට සර්ච් කරලා ඒ ගැන තව පුංචි අවබෝධයක් එයා කතා කරන්න කලින්. progressive education කියලා කියන්නේ ප්‍රගතිය. අපි ඇත්තටම ප්‍රගතියක් කරා තමයි යන්නේ නේ. දරුවගේ ප්‍රගතියක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ නේ. ඒකනේ අපි report එකක් දෙන්නේ නේද? report වලින් අපිට මනින්න බැරි වුණාට අපි දරුවගේ ප්‍රගතිය අපිට ලියලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම conservative කියලා කියන්නේ ගතානුගතික කියලා කියන්නේ reluctant. අපි අදිමද්දි කරනවා නව ක්‍රමයකට change වෙන්න අකමැති. ඒ දෙක ගැන තමයි ඊට අපි කතා කරන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ ඉතා පැහැදිලි ඇති කියලා. අපි නැවත හමු වෙමු. සුබ රාත්‍රියක්.
Thank you so much, Namrusaika.
Thank you. You're welcome, ma'am.
It was a great effort of yours.